It's Rohan, and I'm back with another set of videos. And with these videos, we're gonna start jumping from just Swift into iOS development with Swift. And to start with, we're gonna be making a simple app, our first app with Swift. And this app is gonna show a clock, essentially just the current time. And it's going to be pretty simple, but it's going to start with teaching us about how to build user interfaces with Xcode, which is what we use for apps, as you remember from our last few videos, and labels, stuff like outlets, which we'll all learn about later, and the life cycle of an app. So, so to start with, to make an Xcode project and to make an app, um, you you open Xcode like I did. I opened it from right here. I clicked Xcode, this popped up, and I can create a new Xcode project like by double clicking or clicking right here. And it'll first prompt me for choose a template for my new project because Apple has templates for your app, so you don't have to, type every single thing to begin with because no one does that. So if you remember before, we used a command line tool because we weren't making an app. We were just making something that would run directly onto your computer. So now that was Mac OS because we were running on a computer. But now we're going to go over to iOS over here, and we're going to click Single View Application, which is the basic template that Apple provides, which is essentially these other four are really just sample apps for you to learn how to use certain things. But when you make a real app, you always want to do Single View Application. So I'm gonna make we can call the product clock. You can call it whatever you want, of course. But so and then remember to keep it clicked as Swift like we had before, and we're gonna leave it universal, and we're not gonna check any of these boxes. So if we click next, it will prompt us to create. We can click create, and now we have wherever the directory we chose in the past place was. Now we just created an app there. And so this is Xcode for app development. This is an Xcode project. So on our left, we see over here, we see our explorers. This is our file explorer. Or, sorry, well, I guess it's called the project navigator. And this is the symbol navigator over here, which we won't use a whole lot, but we'll be using it later to debug and stuff. But this is the find navigator, and we can search through our entire project here. This is the warnings are shown here, and this is where we'll look if we have an error or anything. It'll usually just pop up on its own. And this is the test navigator. We're not going to be writing any tests for quite a while, so we're not going to be using this for now. This is the debug navigator, where when we learn about breakpoints, we'll talk about this. And then this is also for breakpoints. And yeah, that's about all we really need to understand. So that's for this side. And now in the middle, you have your editor. And on uh, the editor, we view whatever file we're currently on. Like, let's say right now we clicked clock. We're on the projects file. And now if we go to the appdelegate.swift, which we'll learn what it is exactly later, but this is our Swift file that is the app delegate. And then our view controller, which we'll be talking about today, is in the middle, is selected right now. This is here. And so basically this section is for our editors and actual typing code and messing with the user interface. And then on the right side, we have a bunch of things that once we go into storyboard, we're going to be using all the time. But for when we're writing code and we're in a Swift file or something, these usually aren't that useful. So we're going to jump into Interface Builder, which is Xcode's section for developing UIs. So our Interface Builder, well, you can use Interface Builder in many ways, but we're going to be using it as a storyboard today. Maybe later we'll look into something called a nib, and then with nibs we can make custom views, stuff like that. But we'll be talking about that later. So this is our storyboard where oh, and by the way, I'm using Xcode 8, So for anyone who's still on 7, I suggest you update. But if you can't update, there'll be some slight changes between what you see and what you see on your computer. But hopefully you guys can all update. And because we're using Xcode 8, we're also using Swift 3, like we did in the last videos. Okay, so this is our storyboard, and this is on our left. This section right here is our view hierarchy, and we can see basically all the views um, inside our currently selected view, which is actually called a scene, this entire big box. And then inside a scene, this area is called a view, and then we can have views within our main view and stuff like that. But we're going to be dealing with that a little later. But just to explain, this is our view hierarchy. And on our left, we have our inspectors, which we'll be using almost all of them later. Maybe not the first couple, but definitely the rest. And this is where we can add certain views or certain controllers, which we'll also be using later. So to start with, we're going to be, because like I mentioned, we're making a clock, and we named our project clock, so we got to make a clock. So to start with, the one thing a clock really needs is just something to some text, right, to show the user what time it is. So it's pretty simple. So we're just gonna add a label into because our label is what we can show text with. So if you go down here in the filter and type label, you can type the beginning of it too, but you'll see that it filters out all of those other ones that we didn't want, and it gets a label here. So now we can drag a text label into the view here. You can put it wherever you want, really. And if you see here, this is our label. We can make it a little bigger so we can click it easier. And if we double click on it, we can change its initial text value. And because we're gonna have a clock, why not just make it maybe 0000? How about that? So now we have, a label here. It's not really doing anything, but it will say 0000 once you start. So, and to run an app in Xcode, you can hit this. Well, first you select a simulator, and so I have, you'll probably see all these other simulators. Maybe for today we'll start on the iPhone 7, and we'll be using that. So to run, you can click this arrow up here, or you could have clicked Command R to run. And first it builds, and then it'll load it on the simulator. So with that, it's loading right now, but soon it'll pop up. Okay, there it is. So it might load for a little while, so I'll leave it there. But if we wanted to stop our execution of our program, we hit here, this stop button, or we can say command period. Remember, command R to start, command period to stop. Okay, so our thing is finished loading here, and you see our label, and it's not in a visually appealing location on the screen, but it's there. And it looks pretty similar to what we did on our storyboard. And you'll notice it's also the exact same height, because down here we selected, this is a new Xcode 8 feature, we selected which phone size we wanted. So if we wanted this, which I believe is 7 Plus, yeah. 7 Plus has I think 5.5 inch screen. 7 has 4.7 inch screen, I think. And then 5 has 4 inch, the 4 has 3.5, but those don't exist anymore. So we're going to be working with 7s. So here we are, and so we have our simulator right here, and I brought it up, and I can switch between Xcode and the simulator by hitting Command Tab, because I can switch through all my open applications like this. So I can switch back, switch to simulator. Okay, so that's your basic tour of Xcode, and that we didn't do a whole lot in this video, but that's really important that we know what we're dealing with and how to navigate our way around here. So in the next video, we're going to be working with actual stuff, and we're going to hopefully get our first time to show up. Thanks. See you next time.